All right, let me read this statement. The ordinance on conditional use permit renewals does not require that the Planning Commission take public comment. However, at our last meeting, we did provide for public comment. We have those comments recorded. We have them on video. This evening, we'll limit comments to new information only. The Planning Commission is aware of the EQB's decision yesterday to table the RUG question until they receive more information from the county. Anything that has to do with EQB's decision is not new information. In other words, we're not taking any comments on it. If you wish to speak, raise your hand to be recognized. State your topic and why you consider it to be new information. And again, there will be no personal attacks. Is there anyone here with new information on this renewal? New information? Okay, you come forward, you tell us what your topic is and why you consider it new.
Michelle Erickson, and I would just like to read through a list that I think is important, is noted. The Leonard Tofseman Mine, the Johnson Mine, the Chapel Mine, and the Porteous Olson Mine. These are all the other mines in Houston County that are currently listed in the EIS that we are listed in. All of these mines are permitted and running on the EIS except for us. We feel we are being discriminated against. You know, last time I was here, we asked you to make this right. And you asked us to trust you.
Is there anyone else here who feels they have new information tonight? Okay, at this point we're cutting off public comment and the discussion goes back to where we left off at our last meeting. So now, board members, go ahead. It's open for discussion among you guys. So if you, now, do you want Mr. Erickson up here in case you have questions? You want to ask him some questions? Or Tracy, do you mind coming up here and giving us an overview of your plans since the ownership is different from the last time it was renewed? I mean, the last time it was renewed under Thorson's, right? So, I mean, I think it's just fair that you just give us an overview of your plan to run the mine.
Thank you. Just a quick synopsis. This is the original construction permit. I want it to be known that this is not expired. Bob, is that a true statement?
Right.
And there's no disputing that this permit has ever expired.
Okay, what's the operation? What would you like to do there?
I'd like to remove construction sand on the the permit that's been in place for 22 years. I'd like to continue to move construction sand on the original permit that has been done for 22 years.
And you do agree to limit that to 10,000 yards?
I do agree to limit to 10,000 yards per year.
Okay. Now, are there any other questions? Are there questions? Any questions from the commission members?
With the tabling of the EQB, who is the regulated government unit? Do we still not have, does Houston County not have the authority to do this?
Okay.
Which was the reason that it was tabled.
Right. What the Planning Commission does is make a recommendation. It certainly could be subject to the EQB's rule. And I think at this point, that's a possibility. So,
if I might add something, I'm Mark Merkowitz. I'm the attorney for the Ericksons, and you have a letter from your attorney, Jay Squires, who tells you that, as discussed, the mining of construction sand would be appropriate up to 8,000 to 10,000 cubic yards per year. So you've got advice from your attorney that that's appropriate under the original sand construction permit. So, and it has nothing to do with EQB or EIS or anything else that's going on, as long as it's limited to that and it becomes construction sand instead of frac sand mining. And that letter is dated March 24th, 2014.
I think I sent everybody a copy of a letter that I had gotten.
Right, that is still open, that could be an issue, it's contingent, yeah.
And has our attorney had an opportunity to look at that and interpret that? That was a judge's ruling.
Right.
Correct?
He sent it to us at the time. So
When
right
you're,
after the
when
judge's
you're,
ruling.
you said
Just to remind the planning commission, there's a 60-day rule, and we're on the second 60 days here. The final deadline to make a decision by the county board is right around June 27th. So, you know, if you table it again, you know, we're knocking on the door of that 120-day deadline. And if it goes beyond that, that's automatic approval. So.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Erickson or his attorney? Okay, you guys can.
Hey.
All right, is there any other discussion, whatever you guys want to do?
We could, I got a question. The environmental board did not make a decision on this here. And who says they're gonna make a decision in 6 months?
Well, they've got, they gave Minnesota Sands 30 days to submit their scoping document. That scoping document is gonna list which mines are actually associated with Minnesota Sand. So, EQB wants to see that scoping document, and at the meeting yesterday, representative from Minnesota Sand said there are no mines in Houston County that will be on that scoping document. Now, that scoping document needs to be submitted to the EQB, but that's the way things are headed at this time. So, and of course, you know, Erickson is not one of them because he's in Houston County. So,
How come it's taken so long to get that document? I mean, this has been kind of going on for months.
Right.
How come you think that Minnesota Sand would want to get this done too?
yeah, you'd think so. There's been no money put forward for the EIS. There's been, like I said, no scoping document put forward. So those two things have to happen before an EIS can occur. The money has to be put there, you know, to fund it, and then the scoping document is going to tell which areas are being impacted by which mines. So it's, you know, to be honest, Minnesota Sand is dragging their feet, you know, so.
Any other questions?
Well, but when we approve these conditional use permits, or you know, we approve it with the stipulation with all state and government agencies' approval.
Right.
So why cannot we approve it here at countywide? They still, it has to meet the
Yeah, by all federal, state.
all federal, state, and regulations.
Correct.
So we shouldn't be sitting, you know, debating. If we're going to table again, we should be acting on it.
That would be my recommendation.
That's my feeling. I think we should act on it and get done with it. There's plenty of other sand mines going on in the county, and no different than any other one, as far as I'm concerned.
It can be moved on condition of the being released, and also.
Well, it's still by regulations done,
Yeah, I
just like
understand.
Charlie said.
Yep.
We just talked about adverse effects between two relatives, basically.
That is in the original conditions. This is on the renewal though. You're not-
This is a renewal.
Any other comments?
I myself did look at the mine, and with Mrs. Iverson, Rosemary Iverson's property cabins, the cabins, I mean, when she bought that property, she had to go through the mine, go by the mine to see that property. So she knew there was a mine there. And as far as the Baker residence, that was built, how many years ago, you said, Bob?
6 or 8, something.
Yeah, I mean, they realized the mine was there. So I don't know, I mean, that shouldn't affect our decision.
The screening that's there for the Iverson property and so forth, I mean, that's kind of required to stay there, that, and you,
50 foot, yeah.
yeah. Any other comments, questions on the board?
I think this thing should be moved on to the county board, one way or the other, and contingent upon being released from the EQB and that stuff, by having all state and federal regulations, which would amount to any judicial whatever.
I have a question. You know, with the being released by the environmental board, when do we know? I mean, they might wait a year yet. Are we gonna make Mr. Erickson, you know, wait that long?
I will.
I don't think.
Well, I mean, but I don't know if we need that in the motion. That's the reason I'm asking that question.
Yeah, I think you need it there. Until it's released, the county can't act, I don't think, in my opinion. Because we would not be
That's
there
the
to
county's
you.
responsibility. They should be getting this mess cleaned up.
If you want to put it in the form of a motion, you know what, do it. Either way, it's up to you guys.
Can you repeat your statement? You said that.
I said that as long as the EQB considers themselves the RGU.
But they aren't. They didn't tell you they were.
No, you said that.
It's up in the air.
It's up to
It's
the
up in the air. They're not saying they are.
There's no
Okay.
scoping.
So that's the reason why. Why do we gotta wait for it?
It's not a factor.
It's not a factor at all.
There's no scoping document that says they are. They can't be released from something that they're not part of.
So how does the board vote when it comes to?
Pardon?
How does the board vote when it comes to them? If you send it to the board?
How does the board?
We just said if we're not
voted
the
the way
RGU,
you
we
want it.
can't vote, we can't.
Well, but they're saying they don't agree that we're not
I'm
the
just
RGU.
trying to get clarification.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but the environmental board isn't saying one way or the other if they got the power to approve it or not, right?
Well, if you
Yes,
state,
they did.
if you state state and local laws, that's going to cover it.
Right, that's gonna cover it.
Right.
Yeah.
They said they were still.
Yeah, we're not taking comments.
Well, I'm giving it.
Well, you're going to have to
Well,
leave
you're gonna
if
be
you are.
removed pretty quick.
You're letting him believe a lie.
Hey, Sheriff Deputy, did you ask Ms. Buckby to step out?
Be ready for him.
You're asking him to believe a lie. You are not the RGU. And that was decided yesterday, and you're basing your decision on ignorance.
Fine.
What do you think?
I'll make a motion to grant the condition, or extend the use permit for the commercial sand
Based on what you want the
on the state and federal regulations.
judicial orders you want to do?
Judicial, no.
Okay.
I second the motion.
What is the exact motion?
To renew the commercial sand mine based on federal, state, and local rules and regulations.
Now, with the stipulation of the condition, the 10,000 tons annually be added? condition.
The
10,000 yards.
Yards,
10,000
10,000 yards per year be added, a new
Right.
condition.
Yeah. Does that go, are you talking another 5 years?
5-year
5-year
extension.
extension.
Right.
Right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to recommend this approval. You want to read that? You want to read that one, she get her?
To renew the commercial sand mine based on federal, state, and local rules and regulations, and that the 10,000 yard per year limit be added as a new condition to the permit.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
Okay, we have 2 against. We have 5. Okay, motion carries.
That would go to county board June 3rd.
Thank you.
Thank you.